advantage. When we talk about believer's advantage, we are talking about the believer's access to spiritual resources that help him live on earth, but not as a mere man, but as a man empowered by God. So your advantage as a believer are the spiritual attributes, the spiritual empowerments, the spiritual enablements that you have access to that helps you to live on earth, but not as an ordinary man, but as a man empowered by God. And these things will truly help you. These things are of immense advantage to you as a believer and to me. And when we understand them, we begin to enjoy them and we express them and they work for us. You know, just like you see this morning, you know, the worship and all that. It released something. Now, it's not just excitement. It's not just somebody being happy. It's not feeling good. It's something just like heaven on earth. Please, Biko, please. Oda, carry her. But if she has stopped, stay back. If she has not, go. Praise the Lord. That's called the winning process. And that's what some of us go through. And that's what God goes through in some of our hands. We cry like little babies. Just scream, shout. Every of your prayer. That's why I'm teaching you the believer's advantage. The believer's advantage is not crying. It's not an advantage. Says somebody, your advantage as a believer is not crying. Yeah. The Bible said, though weeping may endure for a night. He didn't say you are supposed to be the one weeping. He said it can endure. Some things might make you to weep, but that's not your advantage. That's not where you stay. Your advantage is that joy. Joy is an advantage. I hear what I'm saying. One of the advantages or advantage of a believer is joy unspeakable. Joy unspeakable. That, you know, joy that cannot be measured with anything, whether material possession or status of life. And mostly that joy is seen in contentment. Where you see a man, he's living in a thatched house and he's singing just like heaven on earth. And meanwhile, there is another man who is living in duplex and he's feeling sad, he's feeling gloomy. It happened in Israel. There was a man called Naboth and there was a man called Ahab. Ahab was the king. Naboth happened to, maybe somehow they are related. Maybe they are the same Umunna because they are living close to each other. Do you understand? So they share land. Everybody have their own. But you are advantageous. You built a duplex, a very mighty castle where you are with your wife Jezebel. And one day the man went and stood at the balcony and was viewing his kingdom. And the only thing his eye could see was that small garden where the man planted vegetable, kept it well. You have enormous land. You can replicate the same thing. You can even tell the man to come and teach you to replicate the same thing. But covetousness entered his eyes and he lost his peace. When he entered into the house, Jezebel said, "My dear husband, what is your problem?" You know, sometimes women can make us go to war. Hallelujah. A man might not intentionally want to go to war, but a woman can make you go to war. You just wake up. You were not considering war. The woman whispered into his ear, said, "Are you not the king? Are you not reasoning well? You are the king. You can have whatever you want. Who is this guy to make you sad this morning? Take over his property, my friend." And he thought when he took that property, all will be well. Guess what? All became worse. And prophecy came from the Lord that even worsened the situation. So one of your advantages is joy that is not attached to any earthly possession. The joy that the Lord gives us is not attached to any earthly possession. It's an advantage. So what it means is, with or without earthly acquisitions and advantage and earthly possessions, I got joy like a river. And there is nothing that can take that joy away from me. Do you know that every other thing as a believer results from the foundation of that joy? Even the way you pray, even the way you relate with people, even the way you accept the word of God, even the way you fellowship in the house of God, they all move from that foundation of joy. Is joy like a river? When you see a river, let me tell you, I don't care the kind of barrier you build. When a river comes in its full glory, that barrier is nothing. So joy flows like what? A river. Few days ago, Nigerian Meteorological whatever, they released announcement. They say everybody by River Niger Bank, or they call that by 11 states. He said prepare, flood is coming. Why is flood coming? Because somewhere in Cameroon, they dam that they built, they've released the water. So that thing might take 5 days to travel down to this place. But guess what? It's coming. And they are telling anybody who is on the way of the water, clear. Even if you are not on the way of the water, you are close by. You are somewhere around, and you know that you are in a flood-prone area. Clear from that place. Why? Because it is coming. But do you know what? Human being, they will look at the River Niger. It's normal. If you go there now, you look at the River Niger. It's looking normal. It's looking like nothing is happening. But somewhere far off, there is a mighty flood coming. And most times, check it. And trace it. Most times it arrives at night. I've never seen it arrive at the day. It's when people are sleeping. By the time, some of them, is that flood that wake them up. The Bible says flood, joy like what? A river. It's like a river that flows. It's your advantage that each time you lose your spiritual stamina, each time you begin to question yourself, why is it that I'm even serving the Lord? Know that there is what is called joy like a river. It flows beyond anybody. It flows beyond the material. It flows beyond your tribe, your religion. It is something that has been given to you as an advantage. And guess where it is? It is within. It's not without. If you look for joy on the outside, you can't find it. You can find happiness on the outside. You can find happiness because you got married. You can find happiness because you have children. You can find happiness because you bought a car. But you can't find joy because you bought a car. No. Guess what? Joy happens whether you have a car or you don't have a car. Joy happens whether you have children or you don't have children. Joy happens whether you have built a house or you have not built a house. It is just something supernatural that moves you from the inside, and then it begins to affect everything on the outside. Do you know that a man that is flowing with abundance of joy can change his atmosphere? He can change his environment. He can change the countenance of his face. Why will you always keep your face in such a way that people are asking you, is all well? Is everything right? See, I want to beg you, don't attract pity. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Don't do what? Attract pity. Assume joy. Because joy is contagious. That when people come around you, they begin to envy you, not because of what you have, but because you're always joyful. And they ask you, why are you happy? Because the world's definition of your joy is happiness. So you just finished, you wrote an exam, and instead of A you were expecting, you wrote well, you saw a C, and you smile and say, going. And somebody is wondering, are you crazy? This is a C. We know you. We know that you can write more than this. And what is it? Because the things that happen in the world are not supposed to take our joy from us. Be joyful. You know what Apostle Paul told the church? I think Philippians church said, rejoice. Again, what did I say? Rejoice. So to express the joy that is within is dependent on me. So it is not about the circumstances, it's about me. The circumstances can be bad, but what have I chose to do in that circumstance? I choose to do what? Rejoice. I choose to rejoice. And the atmosphere of joy is the atmosphere of the miraculous. Once joy is resident, it is easier for the miraculous to be fully experienced. Haven't you noticed it? Let me give you somebody like David. Of course, he got jealous that the house of Udegbbunam was being blessed. But he said, my jealousy will not provoke me into murder. It will not provoke me into doing wrong. It will provoke me into doing good. I know that there is something Udegbbunam did I did not do. I believe that somehow David went and did an investigation. What is it that Udegbbunam did specifically that I was not able to do that brought so much peace, joy, and tranquility in his home? And when I brought the ark, he killed somebody. And when David learned what Udegbbunam did, he said, I'm going to do more. Are you hearing what I'm saying? He said, I'm going to create an atmosphere of joy. I'm good. And guess what? That atmosphere of joy is irrespective of my status. I'm not going to look at my status as a king. I'm not going to look at what my wife think. I'm not going to look at what my children think. I'm just going to look at how I feel on my inside. How I feel about my God. How I feel about the promises that God has made to me. That's all I'm going to think about. And David set out on that journey. Something's changing. Something's moving. Feels like heaven. Just like heaven on earth. Something's changing. It started like a gentle song. And they wanted to put the ark of the Lord on a donkey. David said, no, the glory, the presence of God has to be carried by a human being. For God said, I don't dwell in temples that are made by hands. No, I dwell in the heart of men. Men ought to carry my glory. Men has to carry my presence. David told them, carry it on your shoulder. If you people can't carry God, then we're not going anywhere. And they took him as heavy as he was. And they were saying something changing. Because before, it was a donkey that took the place of human being. The donkey took the place. The donkey started dancing and the ark slipped off and fell. Or wanted to fall. It didn't fall actually. And somebody went to help the ark and that was the end of his life. But this time around, men carried him. And they were singing. Small procession. Small procession. By the time they walk about 5 miles, 10 miles, the atmosphere began to change. Something began to radiate. It became so contagious that even the house help, the maids, even the slave. You know, slaves those days were bought. They were not people that were employed. They were bought. That means, okay, we are in chains. We serve you. But the slaves forgot about their slavery. And they began to dance with the king. And they began to dance with they said, we have never seen such joy in Israel. And the one who was raised in the palace, the daughter of Saul, she grew up in the palace. So she has this queenly attitude. And she just stood there. What kind of nonsense? This is how my father Saul would have done. My father Saul had decorum. And guess what? His decorum got him nowhere. When it comes to the presence of the Lord, have no decorum. Let it be something overflowing from inside. A joy that cannot be stopped. It's your advantage that you can laugh in the midst of circumstances. Somebody look at you and said, you are barren. You tell the person, something's changing. Something's moving. It feels like heaven. Just like heaven on it. He said, no. When I say this thing, it is meant to hurt you. Do you know there are times people say things to deliberately hurt you? They are not saying it carelessly. They want to hurt you. They want you to be angry. Don't give them that opportunity. Do you know that most of the offenses that have come came as a result of what people told us? Some of you, because of what you had, you couldn't sleep at night. Has it ever happened to somebody before? You had something, somebody told you something, or somebody was angry and said, you went and you were thinking about that thing. You were offended, you were angry, you were thinking you cannot hear what you heard. And guess what? If you give attention to that thing you heard, the devil will give you enough weapon. It is called the weapon of witchcraft. Witchcraft is when you meditate on hurting words. It will translate into a weapon that you can use to kill your enemy. So if somebody sends a hurting word to you and you go home meditating on it, you don't need to tell that person anything. No. From that meditation, from the way you are thinking in your heart, you can send an arrow in the night to shoot the person. The next day you hear the person has malaria. The next day you hear the person is in the hospital and you say, well, she's my friend. No, you are the one that sent the arrow. So learn to control how you feel. Don't give people the power to control you. You know, most times women being are funny. If they don't know how you behave in the circumstances, a time will come they will leave you alone. But if they know they can easily provoke you, inside they will keep doing it. You see, there is what is called wickedness in the heart of man. Have you seen where somebody is hurting a fellow human being, and you know you are hurting the person, and you are still hurting that person? Why will a boy or a guy promise a girl heaven on earth, and now we are promising you the one in the house of God you don't want to hear? But a boy now will sing the song heaven on earth, come, I'm going to give you this, I'll take you to, around the world, I'll take you to Bahamas, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you, and you are believing that guy. Let me tell you what faithlessness is. Faithlessness is believing the promise of man above the promise of God. So we finish all the promises, then the heart of man is desperately wicked. That same guy, when he starts misbehaving, you are wondering, is it this same guy that made this promise that is doing like this? But sometimes you are the one that empowered that guy. You are the one that empowers people to hurt you because you told them you cannot be without them. Somebody will even tell a guy, I say, if you leave me, I will die. If you leave me, okay, I will die. Die. If you don't know how to die, I will take you to mountain of fire. Because I know that even now there are prayers are going on that concerns dying, and you must die. Because you carry your entire joy, your entire peace, and handed it over to a man. No one has the right to hurt you except somebody you have opened up your heart to. That's why God said, give me your heart. Give me your heart first, and I will teach you what love is. Let me tell you how we experience love in Nigeria. You know how we experience love? The way we experience love in Nigeria is like how our governors and leaders, politicians treat us. As a nation, or let me say as a state, we have 1 trillion naira. I'm just giving a benchmark. Out of the 1 trillion naira, they take 2 billion. Okay, out of the 1 trillion, they bring out 50 billion. They say this 50 billion is to use it to work this year. In that 50 billion, they've already approved to use to work this year. They will bring out 2 billion. They will come in front of the church and see that the road is spoiling, and they will do small coat on it that will not last for 2 weeks. Guess what? Your Excellency is working. Yeah, that is how we feel. We feel happy. If you know where what they brought out is coming from and what is remaining, you will not praise them for the rubbish they are doing. How can a governor come in and build a bridge and you are celebrating him? What is a bridge? When other nations are talking about how about 3 million youths can be employed in 1 month, our nation, we are celebrating one bridge that took them 4 years. China built a bridge in 6 months. Sometimes I'll be traveling and I'll be going maybe towards Onitsha, and I see the way they are doing road, causing hold up, and I say, why can't they shut this thing down? In the night, when the traffic has gone down, they will do this road. Why can't they come? They will not. But the money that was budgeted is money that can be used to do it day and night and afternoon. And yet we are celebrating. Your Excellency is working. And you know the funny thing? We feel it is a privilege that they are serving us. So when they give us road, we praise them. We are like slaves. We are like, oh, thank you, Your Excellency. We didn't even deserve this road. But you remembered us. That is what love is like in this country. So a guy comes, promise you shawarma. And because in your father's house, there was nothing like shawarma. A guy comes, tell you I love you. Because in your father's house, there was nothing like I love you. So you think that is the echelon. That's the peak of love. And the thing affects your whole mentality. So the day the guy withdraws it, do you know there are ladies here that are so insecure that they want to hear I love you every day? If the only time you want to feel love is when you hear it, then let me tell you, heartbreak is your next door neighbor. He said, Henry, you have not told me you love me for the past 1 week. You have not told me, my dear. you are in for heartbreak. For God so loved the world that he did not come to the world and start saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. Is that what God did? For God so loved the world that he gave. From his actions, we could see his love. From his actions, we could see his intention. This joy I got in me, the world didn't give it. The world can't take it away from me. It's your advantage. Always learn to, there is this tendency to dwell on your circumstance. There's this tendency to just sit down and begin to talk about how things are not working. To meditate on, the more you meditate on the problem, the more you lose your peace. The more it seems like the joy is eluding you. Concentrate more on what God is doing. Do you know that what God is doing in your life is greater than what is not happening already? But the problem is, which one have you magnified? He will make sure you are miserable. And guess the shock, you now marry. You discover that what you are looking for is not in the marriage. Your heart is still looking for something else. So which means that the fulfillment that comes for a man is not about what you have achieved. It is about the joy that flows like a river on the inside of you. That joy makes you a conqueror every day. Some of you say, well, Pastor, when I'm married on my wedding day, that's the day you know I'm a joyful person. I'm going to dance and dance like David. In fact, more than David dance. I'm going to tear my wedding gown. Calm down. Start that dance now. Start it now. In your room when nobody is looking, put a music. Start it. Start the rehearsal. Don't wait till that. Don't postpone joy until you have acquired. Use joy to acquire. Do you get it? Don't do what? Postpone joy until you have acquired. Use joy to acquire. Let joy be a celebratory mood or a celebration that puts you in the mood to get what you are looking for. Don't wait for what you are getting for to put you in the mood to rejoice. Some of you don't know this song. So you are postponing it. You are postponing thanking God until whatever you are praying for comes. That's when you will now thank him. No, the New Testament believer have an advantage. It's an advantage of joy that you be even when you have not received it. The Bible